7th grade English, page 25 and 26. We are ready to accomplish 2 more pages in English, and just a little bit of review here. That's what your first page is kind of about, is some review, some things that you've learned, and using those rules in the bottom part of the page where we need to say if the pronoun is used correctly or if it's not correctly. If it's incorrect, we are supposed to write the correct pronoun. Sometimes they use a pronoun when it's not necessary, and we're supposed to write unnecessary. Now, they have 5 rules up top that they want you to look over. When you're picking a pronoun, remember that some pronouns are used as subjects, some pronouns are used as predicate nominatives. There's some that are used as subjects or predicate nominatives. There's some that are used as direct objects, indirect objects, or object of preposition. And those were back on page 22. And if you look, the nominative case pronouns, I, we, you, he, she, it, they, those are used as subjects or predicate nominatives. Remember, predicate nominatives rename the subject. Now, objective case, me, us, you, him, her, it, and them. Those are used as direct objects or indirect objects or objects of preposition. So when you want to say Seth and I or Seth and me, you need to know. Those are subjects. You need to know, do I use I or me? Casey gave her something, or Casey gave she something, or you need to know which one you're going to use. Number 2 says, when a pronoun comes immediately before a noun, determine which pronoun to use by its function. An example is, we boys will help. You don't say us boys, you say we boys. Dad asked us boys to help, not we. So you're determining where you're at. We boys is the subject. If you say Dad asked us, now you're doing direct object. And so one of them is a subject, one of them is a direct object. That's when you need to know, do I use we or do I use us? The next one says, avoid unnecessary pronouns. My mother, she is a wonderful person. You don't need the word she. You just say, my mother is a wonderful person. Not she. Use a possessive case pronoun before a noun ending in ing. I don't mind your asking for advice. I don't mind your asking, not you asking. I don't mind you asking. You need to use a possessive case pronoun before a noun. Now, asking sounds like a verb. In this sentence, it is a noun. It's like asking, not asking like this for a question to be answered, but it's saying my asking is received or whatever. Asking here is a noun. That's why it says use a possessive case pronoun before a noun ending in ing. And we'll probably have some of that down here. That's why they're reminding you about that. Avoid the incorrect forms his self and their selves. That's not a correct compound pronoun. You don't say his self or their selves. You say themselves and himself, not his self. Okay, those are incorrect. So let's look at some of them on this page, on page 25. A pronoun has been italicized. That means those, the crooked letters or whatever, those are italics. If the pronoun's correct, write correct. If it's incorrect, write the correct pronoun in the blank. If the pronoun is unnecessary, write unnecessary. Now, number one, now you and me can read the story of one man who accepted the challenge of Matthew 5:13. Okay, you and me. There's a subject. Can we use me as a subject? If you don't know, go back to page 22. The nominative case pronouns are the ones that are used as subjects. Is me in there? I don't see me. It should be now you and I. I is a subject a pronoun that you can use for a subject. Number two, John Bunyan, he was that man. Do we need the word he? Could we just say John Bunyan was that man? I think so. That one is unnecessary. Number three, perhaps you students have read Pilgrim's Progress, which he wrote. Perhaps you students. You could say perhaps you, or perhaps you don't want to say just perhaps students have read, because somebody's obviously talking to the students. Perhaps you students have read. Yes, that is correct. You can say that. Number four says, in many ways, Mr. Bunyan himself was like Pilgrim. Okay, so here's a compound pronoun used as a, what was that word? Intensive? Is that the word we just? Yes, intensive. Mr. Bunyan himself. It's intensifying what he's trying to say. So that is correct. You can say that. Number five says, as a young man, he found himself miserable over his sin. What did we learn about not using his self? We need to use, what word do we need to use instead of that? Number six, Mr. Bunyan's life was completely changed by his coming to the Lord. All right? Here is one of those the rule on number four, where use a possessive case pronoun in front of a noun ending in ing. This coming is not used as a verb here. That's a noun. His coming to the Lord. Do we use, what did it say? Use a possessive case pronoun. So go back to the possessive case and see if you see the word his in there. This is used as an adjective. It's describing coming. And yes, it is correct. His is there, and you can say changed by his coming. Number seven will do. Yet at the cross, the weight of his sin, it seemed to roll away. We should just say the weight of his sin seemed to roll away. That it is unnecessary. All right, you guys can finish that page. Let's go to page 26. We're talking about antecedents, and it's the word to which a